everybody, and welcome to Needle Drop Nation. I'm your host, Jodi Barrias, and this is my buddy, co-host, co-producer, Nick Wood. And here we are, proud to present episode 11 of Needle Drop Nation, the episode known as Rebels, Riffs, and the Restless Year, 1974. Well, so Nick, let me tell you something. It was an interesting year in the US and in the UK, and how it also affected the world. Not just only with politics, but especially with music and the emergence of artists that really paved the way to the decade of the 70s. So let's get into like the most important parts. What was going on in the UK, Nick, in 1974?
74, that was what you could only dream of these days. We were on the verge of a 3-day week. We had no power. The coal miners were rebelling. they were pretty much revolutionary, and they kind of like wanted to take over the government. They brought down the Edward Heath Conservative government in 74, which allowed Harold Wilson and his Labour government back in. Harold Wilson, a very popular politician, which is when Labour was genuinely, the Labour Party was the party of the people. I think it's kind of changed since then, but genuinely it had the people at its heart. And Harold Wilson was again a very good leader. He didn't last too long. He was replaced by a guy called Jim Callaghan. But yeah, it was a kind of a dark old time. We had no coal, no energy. I remember, now I do remember as a kid, we kept candles in cupboards because we had power cuts all the time. You'd be quite, happy doing my homework. As if.
in candlelight.
I might be lying, and the lights would go off, and be like, Mum would be like, "Oh, we need to go get candles." And in those days, there was no real health and safety. I remember my dad used to have these paraffin lanterns that he had in his greenhouse, and so you'd go out in the dark, light one of those up, and we'd have these paraffin lamps. Yeah, super dangerous. And so that was what was happening in the UK. One other thing of note, Jodi, was the village I grew up in, Raisbury, a lovely little village. It got flooded. It's on the Thames, on the river, and it got totally flooded. And so I do have this memory of watching the Scouts canoeing across the village green where we used to play cricket, and it was just totally flooded. And that was a real lasting memory of 74.
Wow.
The flood of my little village. It was very unusual, and it has happened since, but more deliberate. But this was just the weather, crazy weather we had in 74.
Oh sure. Wow!
Yeah, so it wasn't the best of years for politics and the news.
Exactly. Well, at that time, the United States was going through major inflation, gas prices going up, and also unemployment was on the rise. And it's funny when you talk about energy conservation, Nixon did propose the speed limit to go down to 55 miles per hour. Now that to me was like, okay, interesting. So, but also further in that year, that was the year when Nixon resigned after the investigation on Watergate. And now Gerald Ford was appointed as our new interim president.
Yeah.
So
that's Jodi. Am I right in saying Gerald Ford? I must have read this somewhere, but he was never elected even as vice president, was he?
No.
So he got president without even being elected as vice president.
Yeah, because Spiro Agnew resigned as vice president during the investigations of Watergate. He said, well, if my boss is going to get caught, I'm going to get caught. I'm out of here. And okay, Gerald Ford becomes the appointed vice president, and he's vice president.
Wow.
Nixon resigns, and boom, he becomes president. So
hey, that's democracy for you.
It works in this type of situation. So now, 74. Let's talk about music. It was a great year, Nick. I mean, you and I were both kids. You said that 73 was a year of memory. A real memory coming into being as a child. For me, 1974 was the year of real memory because our family was moving from one apartment to another apartment since the family was expanding. And I'll tell you something, whatever I heard on the radio or I heard on the turntable, I'm telling you, either got me to laugh or to cry, and to cry because I became homesick of my first
Oh,
place of home. So, for a child, transition is tough, as you know,
mm,
as a 4-year-old. But I must say, 1974 was a great year. You're seeing new bands come out, new artists come out, and then, of course, you and I, the band that I would say we both are very proud of, to say
mm,
represented 70s and brought a new level of rock and roll. And that is Queen with
oh,
Sheer Heart Attack, Nick. Let's talk about that album
yeah,
and Queen
Queen.
1974.
Oh, I know it's absolutely amazing. And again, this is like a vivid memory. The single "Killer Queen" is such a brilliant song, and I remember it. I remember we used to be, if Mum and Dad were out, we'd often get babysat by the vicar's two young lads, so they were in their
Oh,
teens, and so they'd come round, and they weren't going to play anything of my dad's or my mum's record collection. That was pretty much all orchestral and organ music, still
mhm.
is, and so they didn't like my Jesus Christ Superstar, so
Aw.
they came round. They came round and said, "Listen to this, boom, and Killer Queen." And that's a memory I have from '74. Them babysitting, and it's like, wow, what is this amazing music? And then, of course, as you get older, and you re-listen to it, there was another song in there. I wrote it down, but I can't see where I wrote it. Um, but it was just a really good album. It wasn't their first; it was their third album, I think.
It was their third
Uh,
album.
and it was but they had this thing, didn't they? They could just meld. It was a crossover between like the glam rock, but still theatrical, but
Hmm.
like real amazing rock as well.
Hmm.
I know. I can't quite think of the word to describe it, Jodi. Now
Oh,
I'm here. It was
and
was the other
it's
song I'm trying to think of.
it was funny because I was listening to that album the other day and I noticed you had the gritty rock and roll that they played, and you could see they had tribute of rock and roll from the past. But one of the things I must say about that album is that here are amazing musicians. You got Brian May, Roger Taylor. You've also got a great singer performer, Freddie Mercury, the late Freddie Mercury.
Acapella.
And it's just with his vocal range, and it's just one of the best gifts that we had in the 70s was listening to Queen. So yeah, I think that's we're going to hear more about Queen on the episodes to come.
We are. And the other thing I loved about it was they it wasn't just one of them writing the songs. They all wrote different songs, and some of their biggest songs weren't written by the ones you think they were, because it was Roger Taylor and the bass player, whose name has just jumped right out of my head. Um, he was brilliant, and he was a brilliant
Mhm.
bass player as well.
He was, yes.
Can't
Yeah.
think of his name. He was that good.
No, it's great. But in the episodes to come, we are going to hear more about Queen with the albums, that actually shaped the rock and roll landscape through that band. But we also had another band that did come out, and that was actually amazing when you talk about vocals, when you talk about harmony.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
our
incredible.
Swedish quartet that we know.
Sweet. We love them. We love them, and disgracefully attractive as well. Good-looking men, good-looking women, and good, hearty, homely music as well, and super relevant, Jodi, because they they sprang to fame on the back of the Eurovision Song Contest that we have in the UK. I don't know whether do you actually get that in the States,
Which one?
the Eurovision Song Contest.
You know what?
Probably,
We actually
probably.
we've now watched that because a lot of European artists, like from Italy and Germany, are a lot of the American youth do listen to.
Ah,
And
okay.
yes, so as time went by, the Eurovision contest did actually it was televised,
Yeah.
and also now it's widely watched more
Oh,
than ever, to be
that's
quite honest.
I'm pleased about that, because I remember again back in the '70s, and it's really relevant actually because we had it it was only last Saturday just gone that we had the latest version. The UK did their standard of just getting 1 point, so it's 1 point more than we normally get these days. I don't think we're ever going to win it again. And yeah, so we have these things, and I remember going through the 70s, it became less and less popular, and I think France at one stage pulled out, I think Germany pulled out at one stage, but then it suddenly had this resurgence, and now we have, of course, all the former Eastern Bloc European countries are all in there. They kind of group vote for each other, and we even got Australia, in there, which is like how. So I'm sure if someone really wanted to, from the USA, if they wanted to come and join the Eurovision Song Contest at some stage, we could add you as well. But anyway, that's just a by the by. No, going back to ABBA, Waterloo, what a great song that was. It was all full of joy, and it was excitement, and it was just a great song. Catchy, you couldn't stop singing it. And it was from the same album of the same name, I believe.
With the same title, Waterloo, yes. And as we know, when we get to become familiar with ABBA's albums, 1975 album, we'll talk about that in the next episode. ABBA is one of those bands that every generation who lived around that time literally could appreciate, sing along to, perform to, dance to, and just enjoy, uplift the spirit of any soul that listened to ABBA. Whether it was a love ballad, whether it was a danceable tune, ABBA really they were able to capture, the hearts of listeners as well as the audience.
Yeah, because we're going to get some going forwards, Jodi. We got a ton of Queen, we got a ton of ABBA to cover. It's going to be amazing, and this is when we just wish really that we could just play some of these amazing songs as well. But when we talk about them, you can hear them in your head, and that's what I really love. And on the playlist, guys, you've got to go check out the playlist today. There are some absolute corkers on there. We always mention him, Jode, every week. We've got the Diamonds Dog album, we've got Rebel on the playlist.
Rebel, that is, yes. And then you've also got, Rebel, this is the mess. Like, you're such a mess. Oh my God, girl, pick yourself up. I love it. Hot Trend. I love you. So. No, that was a I think the final year for Ziggy with that album, Dogs.
Kind of went from there.
Yeah.
And of course we have Benny and the Jets still from that enormous album.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Yeah, great song.
Yellow Brick Road. We talked about that yesterday. Loads. The Way We Were. We got Barbara Streisand. Help Me with Joni Mitchell.
And then also we've got Eric Clapton's rendition of I Shot the Sheriff. That was formerly sung by Bob Marley and the Wailers back in '73. Eric brings his version of it in 1974. We also have emerging bands that we see really rise in 1974. We've got Chicago with I've Been Searching. That's one of my favorite songs from Chicago. We also have Steely Dan. Yes, it is a beautiful song. And we've got also Steely Dan with great song, Ricky Don't Lose That Number. Yeah. That
brilliant song. We also have a couple of I was going to call them almost like Shaggy Mr. Lover lovers. We have got the amazing Barry White, Can't Get Enough of Your Babe, on this, and we've also got David Essex, who's like huge in the UK, and still is. He would be classed as a national treasure.
Wow.
What been going honor. For years and years, and I think we got, is it Rock On? We've got
Rock On. Yep. And that song was actually pretty popular on the airwaves in the United States too, believe it or not.
No, it should be. Yep. It was he did some great stuff.
Yeah, like I Can't Live. That was a love ballad that he did, right? Pretty much back in the day.
Those are the days, David Essex. Actually, it's a slight aside. We used to have a guy in the UK called Kenny Everett, who was a DJ and comedy skits and things like that. absolutely hysterical. And he did. He used to have a guy called So he used to have this character called Sid Snot, who had the leather, uh, all the leather gear and everything. And I saw it on YouTube only the other day, and he's chatting to David Essex, who was like on his motorbike, and David goes, how many miles to the gallon does your motorbike go? And David Essex goes, I don't know. I've never put a gallon in it. You had to see it really, but it was it was just what I love about David Essex. He didn't mind, he could be the butt of a joke. He was actually quite a good actor as well. He was in Stardust, a movie that I recall. Yeah, he was great. Who else have we got on there, Jodi? We got so many good things on here.
Oh yes, and then here we are now transported into the Motown sound of Philly. So we've got the stylistics, from the Philly Motown scene. We've got the 3 Degrees, When Will I See You Again? And also, the Sounds of Philly. The last song on the playlist is something that is a precursor, just with Barry White's Can't Get Enough of Your Love, is the sound of disco. I mean,
yeah, we're really getting disco-y, aren't we? That's the thing.
yes, so I think this is something that is a great turning point year, with the riffs, and also with, the restlessness of what's to come in the years ahead. So, folks, when you go log on and you watch our YouTube channel, the link to our playlist is there, as well as when you go to our Transistor FM webpage and you have access to our podcast via iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and other platforms. When you look into the description, there is the link to that wonderful playlist that anyone can listen to. Because one thing that's great about this podcast is that not only do we share our list with you, but we also talk about that time, which takes you back. And again, this podcast is a love letter dedicated to us Gen Xers in celebration of music, film, and of that time. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Oh, now
yes,
talking of films, Jodi, just
Yes.
as a slight aside, probably my all-time favourite film was this year, and that was The Godfather Part 2. What
Mhm.
an amazing, amazing film. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and the other guy.
Okay, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and of course we've got Marlon Brando, all in one film. Because there are flashbacks of the father, of course, that was played by Robert De Niro when he comes into the United States from Italy. So it's a great story, and Scorsese does it again.
Yeah, and such a brilliant, the way he just intertwined like the past and the present, and it just keeps you hooked. Of course, there's a lot of gambling in Las Vegas and everything, where I'm going in a couple of weeks' time. Looking forward to that. I won't be reenacting any scenes. Don't worry. I won't be doing any gambling. And then we talk about riffs and fighting. The other great thing that we had was, and I remember it because it was live on TV, the entire world, I think, stopped to watch the two most incredible heavyweight boxers, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, before he made his George Foreman grills. They had the Rumble in the Jungle in Manila.
In Manila, Rumble in the Jungle in Manila.
And my God, they slugged it out.
That's why, Muhammad Ali is known as the Thriller of Manila. But now Pacquiao is trying to claim that. But, Rumble in the Jungle, 1974, epic fight of the 70s,
It was incredible. Absolutely brilliant. So, looking forward. that was really cool. What else was there? Oh, going back to the music, we've got Patti LaBelle, Lady Marmalade. And I was saying to Jodi only earlier on, I was saying, I just remember the Pussycat Dolls. So I now got to go and listen to Patti LaBelle's.
Oh, you could hear her belt that tune, Lady Marmalade. Hey, sister soul, sister soul, sister soul. And my gosh, she sings it. Oh my gosh, she takes you through, every note that she hits on that song, and it's great. Like I said, sign of the times, mid 70s. What's
Yeah,
the word? Yes.
and of course, it all helped us learn French.
Mhm.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
That's right.
But there was never a French girl around to say it to when I was growing up.
Nah! Yeah, well, thank God, because that kid,
God,
that
yeah,
girl might have smacked you in the face for saying that. They understood it, you know.
yeah. Can you imagine if I'd have said that on as a young boy going on holiday to France? I know I know some French.
You
Go on.
get spanked by another parent in France, probably.
Yeah, that would be
Yes.
so cool.
No, there was also another film that was really good, and really quickly, I was Chinatown. You're talking about a very
Oh, of course.
controversial film in 1973 with Faye Dunaway. Yes.
Yeah,
And, this is something where, some of the things of taboo and what we don't talk about, that it actually hits, and you don't realize it till the end of the film, you know, uh,
yeah,
that covered the topic of incest. For
yeah,
me, it was, you think it was about the complications and the romance and all the violence around, but then what became the reason why two people could not be together was
yeah.
because of, and that's one of those
Well,
films like that 70s, like Taxi Driver, Dog Day
of
Afternoon,
course.
which we're going to be
Yeah,
exploring in the future
yeah,
episodes in 75 and 76. Really talk about things in the forefront, whether they're based on novels or were written for the
yeah.
screenplay. You know,
They kind of pushed the boundaries, didn't they,
they did,
of what
definitely.
was allowable back in those days? Because you remember, back in the 70s, we were pretty. I guess both nations were still fairly conservative
Hmm.
in their in their in their thoughts and their voices. So
Hmm.
I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
1974. So Jodi, listen.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Now, I was 3 Degrees, of course. I forgot to mention that was one of King Charles's favourite bands. It was,
Really.
oh yes, in the 70s, and yeah, it used to be the butt of lots of jokes when he was just a prince. That yeah, he let slip that he really liked 3 Degrees.
That song. It's a great song, and everybody can sing to it. It's a beautiful
It's a,
song.
it's a
You
corky
know,
one.
it is.
Now, Jodi, have we got a little preview of 1975?
1975. Yeah,
For next
we
one?
got films like Taxi Driver. We've got great. The next. ABBA still continues to reign. Queen,
More
and
Queen,
then
more
yes,
Queen, more Elton,
more
more
Elton,
disco.
more disco,
Oops,
and
I
then
did.
the emergence of the Thin White Duke comes. Ha ha! Again, we can't help but mention
Yeah,
David Bowie.
we'll have to bring him out again. I can't remember which Stones album I can slate. I think they were a bit rubbish in the 70s until they
Yes,
came back to life
definitely.
with
But
Starfire.
yeah, but we definitely, you guys are in for a treat for our next episode covering 1975 with Nick Wood and I. And I just also want to say it's going to be a very special episode because next week is someone very special. It's his actual birthday on the 25th of this month of May, and we're going to dedicate that episode to our beloved Nick Wood.
Oh,
And
Jodi.
Nick, you're going to start off the show talking about what's your favorite song, and we're going to put it on the playlist and discuss it.
Oh, which is my favourite song. Now I'm going to have to sit
Yeah.
and listen. I think I know, but who knows? I might change my mind. Yes, a big one for me, a big 6-0. Where the hell did that? How did that happen?
We're forever young. Age is just a number to us. Age is just a number.
It
We
is.
are forever young, as you know.
We do. As I say to people, they say, "How old are you?" I say, "I'm roughly about 13 billion years old as energy, just 60 years as a human." That's all. I was always here. I will always be here, and I will be here forever, as
There
we
you
all
go.
know. Jodi,
Said.
as ever, you are the best. no question.
You are the best.
And thank you. I love live streaming. You love doing these podcasts with you. Your knowledge is just incredible, and we have fun, which is what it's all.
Always, that's the best part.
So, guys, do go check out the playlist. Go leave us a lovely review. Let us know next week, during the week, what you'd like us to play. So 1975, you've got a favourite, let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, just pop it in the comments. We read them if you put them in. So until next time, this has been episode 11.
Wow.
Jodi, until we meet again, take care.
You too, Nick. Rock on, buddy. Bye, everybody.